So this is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and this is the OnePlus 13R. And in this episode, I want to see how well this mid-ranger flagship phone stacks up to the S25 Ultra. Let's find out how close they are in performance. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up test in 3, 2, go, and see which one could get there first. Now, what struck me immediately about the S25 Ultra, because I already had the OnePlus 13R before getting the S25 Ultra, is how similar it kind of feels. They both have flat sides. They both have almost the same shape. The OnePlus 13R looks slightly smaller. But the reason I'm doing this comparison is because I really feel that if you want a phone that's a lot less money, but kind of the same shape, you could kind of get it in the same color as that titanium black. It's a little bit different, but these phones generally kind of feel the same besides their camera bumps. Those are different for sure. But the general shape of these phones look almost the same. I mean, come on, look at the sides. Look where the button placements are. You can see at the top, they're kind of the same right there. And the Samsung did turn on first, but we do have maybe a slightly wider phone there on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And we do have a silent switch on the OnePlus. But the S25 Ultra does have an S Pen right here. And you can see that they do have opposite, SIM card areas. But these phones generally feel pretty similar in their actual shapes and designs. So yeah, we're going to give the first round to the Galaxy S25 Ultra, winning it out on the boot up test. But we're going to see how well this flagship like phone here at a lower price tag does perform on the OnePlus 13. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start with the fingerprint sensor. You can see ultrasonic, so that is going to be an upgrade here for the S25 Ultra on this side. We'll go ahead and take a look at the lock screen and we'll get right in. Now over here, you will get an optical fingerprint. That is one of the downsides of getting a mid-ranger phone on the OnePlus 13R. It's also placed a little bit lower, but it's generally similarly fast and you'll get right in at a similar clip. However, the ultrasonic on the base OnePlus 13 is going to be nicer. But what's nice about the OnePlus 13R is this phone is giving you a last year's flagship chip. This actually has the same chip as the S24 Ultra, and this phone has 12 gigabytes of RAM, just like this S25 Ultra. So you can see when they're both turned on, I mean, there's not much in it besides the different icons from Oxygen OS and One UI 7, but generally the shapes of these phones are strikingly similar, but we do have a very different, a slightly bigger punch hole camera right there. And I did see some rumors that maybe the S26 Ultra is going to go all screen. I'll definitely be on that real quick because I really do like all screen phone. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the general scrolling speed, and you could see it's basically pretty similar. They both do have vertical app drawers as well, although Samsung you can put on a horizontal one, but it's gonna not make it alphabetical no more. But generally I find the Samsung to have a fast scroll while trying to implement some smoothness. You can see how the OnePlus is bouncing a little bit. It is looking forward to more of it's looking to look a little bit more visually smooth is what they're going for there. And you can see even when swiping down, the Samsung just flies in. The OnePlus does a little bounce right there if you look closely. You can see that little bounce. Samsung kind of just flies right in. So I'd say kind of scrolling through, Samsung feels a little faster, whereas the OnePlus is looking a little bit more visually pleasing. And everything is closed out for both phones here. Let's see how well the 13R does against this S25 Ultra. Let's hit calendar, and that was faster on the Samsung calendar app. Let's head into clock, and you could see slightly quicker on the left. And we'll go into timers here. If we swipe out, the OnePlus's animation seemed to come out a bit quicker on that one. Let's go into calculator. And again, I think the Samsung has maybe a slightly quicker animation there. So let's go into weather on both phones. And you could see not a massive difference. They have a little bit different blues. They also kind of look the same, almost the same in terms of design, just a little bit different, not a massive change. Let's go into Google News. You could see essentially the same thing. If I go over here to technology, which is what we cover here on this channel, a little bit quicker on the Samsung. You can see once in there, pretty similar. If I click this right here, pretty similar. So I don't feel like the 8 Elite will make a massive difference day to day. So in terms of just kind of like daily use of the phone. So the OnePlus 13R will give you really great performance for the price of this phone for sure. Let's go ahead and head into Play Store, and you could see that was faster by a smidge on the left. If we swipe through here, no massive change. Let's go to top charts. Let's hit Instagram, and you can see as we scroll through pretty fast. Let me head over here to Threads. You can see pretty good on both. And when we swipe out, both of them come out nicely. Let's go into X. And if we hit over here, I go to my profile page and I swipe through. You can see the general experience of both of these is going to be nearly the same. So I clicked on the wrong thing. So let me just click right here. And generally just kind of scrolling through about the same. No major issues there. So if I swipe back, scroll through, about the same. So let me go ahead and swipe out, and let's go ahead and head it over here into Instagram, and you'll see if I scroll through, there's really no major difference again here. So OnePlus 13R doing very good. Let's swipe up out of here. It's not that the S25 Ultra is doing amazing, but I'm trying to see how close does this mid-ranger come. Let's go over here to trending. If I scroll over here, I go to music, and you could see you are definitely getting what OnePlus claims. You are getting the flagship performance at the non-flagship price. You do actually miss out on the best camera though. That is the downside of getting the 13R, whereas you are not giving up nothing with camera on the Samsung S25 Ultra, which is giving you like the best out there. So that's going to be your main thing. So it just depends, and it doesn't mean the 13R's camera is bad. It's just not at this level. Neither is it at even the base OnePlus 13's level. So that's the thing that you give up. And you've seen both of them pretty good on Gemini. Let's go into Subway Surf now. And also the overclock CPU for the 8 Elite definitely makes the Samsung load games and just perform slightly better than most phones out there, including the top of the line 16 Pro Max. Let's go into Brawl Stars. It even outperformed, I think, a little bit on the OnePlus 13 base, the regular OnePlus 13 flagship. So these 8 Elites are definitely where it's at, but the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, I did notice in my testing on the OnePlus 13R, under gaming load, this phone did get a little warmer than the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. So one of the things this year is that the 8 Elites are more efficient at heat management, I found in my usage. So if you want a little bit better heat management, I'm going to have to say go with the 8 Elite in the regular OnePlus 13 or in the S25 Ultra this year. You could see dead trigger loaded faster in the S25 Ultra by a little bit, but it's not anything huge though. Let's go into Race the Sun, and you see Race the Sun is loading first here on the S25 Ultra. When loading up the game here, you'll see when you look at these screens though, the Samsung definitely has a slightly more rectangular shape. This one is kind of like somewhere in between the S25 Plus and this rectangular Samsung Galaxy S25. And I did just make a quick cut. I removed Real Racing 3 because it wasn't ready on the S25 Ultra. Let's hit Free Fire. Besides, that game's not really well developed for either phone. So let's hit Free Fire, and you'll see Samsung in the lead here. And yes, Samsung is going to take it here. Once in the game, both of them again perform pretty well. You do have a slightly larger display on the Samsung, Call of Duty on both here, and see which one can get there first. Now it looks like the OnePlus is in the lead. We'll see though when we actually get to the home screens here. And both of them doing pretty rock solid in this test. And Samsung looks like it took it though. Maybe by a hair, but nothing massive. Both of them will be able to play COD very well, even probably the new Warzone. So let's go ahead and go into the 3D Mark. That was the Samsung. And we'll go into Geekbench 6. That was the Samsung. And Speed Test Net. That was slightly to the Samsung. We'll go into InShot, and that was to the Samsung. So overall, I do think the S25 Ultra takes another victory here. However, it wasn't by a substantial amount as you might think. It is last year's chip in the OnePlus 13R, but both of these can do fun things like split screen. They both have very smooth multitasking. And generally, I do believe that you are winning out either way here. But if you really want the overall package of a phone with a great camera, you definitely want S25 Plus or the Ultra, even maybe the smaller version if you are okay with a 1080p screen. But definitely the camera is where it shines, but it did win out in the base app test. Let's check the RAM management now. Both of them do have 12 gigs of RAM. So looking at the S25 Ultra, if I go through each application, you'll see that it's looking pretty good. Honestly, it is. So nothing so far. Dead trigger ready to go. We do have that ready to go. Brawl Stars always kind of does that when I go in there. Gemini did very good this time. Groupon, YouTube, Amazon, Instagram, X, Play Store, News, and this should show you that the 12 gigs of RAM probably won't mess up your day-to-day experience. For the Galaxy, it was basically flawless right there. And of course, the One UI 7 app switcher has definitely got a lot smoother looking. I do quite like that update right there. That looks very nice. Now this is Oxygen OS 15, also 12 gigs of RAM, and I expect similar performance here. And let's go home, and I do think we have a reload here for some reason on Race the Sun. Dead Trigger 2 reloading. I'm not exactly sure why we're getting all these reloads. And let's go over here into Brawl Stars. Wow, we're getting a lot of reloads here, so not looking good over here on the right, except for maybe if I'm wondering if there's a setting that's deep sleep in these apps. Let me know down below in the comments, but literally everything has reloaded since, well, not Instagram, not X, not Play Store. News with a relaunch. Weather. We'll go to X. Did I say X? Calculator, clock, and calendar. So everything looks smooth, but there was quite a bit of reloads on the OnePlus here. I'm wondering if there's a deep sleeping thing that's going on for this one, or maybe it cut back the apps because of the gaming mode or something like that. It probably slept the apps because of the gaming mode. Let me know down below. But so I believe this is where it was probably closing apps. By default, it's on balance mode. But this is how it comes out of the box. So definitely, you shouldn't have to turn on a mode for apps to start relaunching. I know it's trying to keep the phone super smooth day to day, but at the same time, I want my apps to remain open. So the 13R definitely is not going to win in that area. The Samsung definitely outshines it in that respect. Let's check the benchmarks now. And here's our final Geekbench 6 scores, and you can see 3018 on the Samsung on the left. That's a pretty good margin over the single core on the right, and definitely better on the multi-core. Also keep in mind that these scores on the OnePlus 13R being a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, it probably would be similar if I compared this to last year's S24. So it's not like it's horrible scores, they're still very fast. But the Samsung pulls ahead in this benchmark. And here are the final scores for Wildlife Extreme, and you could see a respectable 30 FPS basically on the OnePlus 13R and a 37.15 on the Samsung, scoring better than 97% of devices on the market. Over here, the 13R scores better than 93% of devices on the market, and this phone is $599. Let that sink in. This phone scores better than 93% of the competition, which means it probably is faster than even some flagship phones out there, and it costs half the price usually. So this phone right here, $1299, this one $599. So we're looking at over a $600 difference, but the $600 difference doesn't come in the area of performance. I really just think it's down to this right here, the cameras. This is what you're paying the extra money for because both of them do have OLED displays. They're both large displays. They're both very bright. They're both very fast. Both run Android 15. It's really coming down to cameras these days. But surprisingly, the OnePlus does have actually a larger battery than the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. So wrapping it up here, I can do a camera test real quick though. Let's go ahead and do that as I do in all my videos. We'll bring in our loyal Android man and we'll go ahead and pull it out. And let's go ahead and hit the cameras. Hold on, this is gonna be tough. These phones are massive. 3, 2, go. And you can see that was the Samsung. I'll take a photo and let me go ahead and swipe the camera out and we'll launch them again in 3, 2, go. And now it was the OnePlus. So now, because the OnePlus wants to be faster, let's go ahead and do it again just to make sure. And yeah, so the OnePlus actually faster to open the cameras, although you do have a lot more options on the Samsung. Again, that's where you're paying the money, is for the camera. So wrapping it up here, and maybe the ecosystem as well. So wrapping it up here, I think this video should showcase that if you're looking for the OnePlus 13R, it's a great value. And it also has flat edges, fully flat display, just like the S25 Ultra. You're definitely going to be suffering a little bit in the camera if you care a lot about camera. And the S25 Ultra is definitely going to take the win as expected. But it didn't like blow away this phone. So you know what would be nice? I think it would be nice to see some Samsung competitor to the OnePlus 13R this year, maybe like a FE version with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. That would be nice. And overall, phones are just so good, even at the mid-range now. So thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.